both the President of Finland and we have the Prime Minister of Finland, and that's never, I don't ever remember having a President and a Prime Minister, but that's a great honor, and thank you very much both for being here. And Alex, we've been friends for a long time, and I've heard wonderful things about your Prime Minister also, and we have a big order coming up. We're buying icebreakers. We're building them together for the most part. We're doing 4 over there and 7 over here. And we negotiated a pretty tough price, I think. But I assume you're going to do very well. But what you're doing is you're going to be teaching us about the icebreaker business very, very strong. We only have one icebreaker in all of that millions and millions of acres. We only have one icebreaker. And other countries have more than we do. And we're buying the finest icebreakers in the world. And Finland's known for making them. They sort of have almost a monopoly on icebreakers, if you think about it. Nobody makes them like Finland. I've heard that for a long time. So we're going to have a total of 11, and it's been really an honor working on it. It was very important. We were making them, but we didn't make them right. By the time we finish, we're going to make them maybe better than you, but at least as well. But probably not better, but at least as well. So I appreciate both of you being here. It's an honor to have both of you. Really tremendous reputations, and it's a great country. Thank you very much. Alex?
Thank you, Mr. President. I mean, I remember our first conversation just after you had been elected in November. The first thing you mentioned was icebreakers. We need them, and then we've been working on this issue ever since. And we're happy to announce that we'll basically building 11 icebreakers together, 4 of them in Finland, in joint endeavors, and then 7 of them here. And I think the reason that we've landed in Finland is that 60% of the world's icebreakers are built in Finland. 80% are designed. We've been building them for over 100 years. And speaking of price and time, I think we're the country that can provide them half the price and half the time that others have it. And I think this is a huge strategic decision by the President as well, because we all know that the Arctic is important strategically, militarily, and in terms of the economy as well. And now we can work on this together. Finland is a strange country in the sense that we are probably the only country in the world where all the ports are frozen in the winter. And that's why we built the know-how in icebreakers. Now we can work on this together. And I remember the first conversation we had, you mentioned the fact that Russia has 40, and you need to start ramping this up. And this is an indication that we're going to do it, and we're going to do it together. I also think that this strengthens our bilateral relations. I know I come from a small country, but for us to be able to work together with you is extremely important from a strategic perspective as well. So we appreciate the cooperation, and we're going to deliver the first one 2028.
Good. Just a little bit before a big event.
Yeah.
So that's true. That's great. And actually, it's true. I came here and they were building an icebreaker. They had no idea what they were doing. They had no idea how much it was going to cost. They knew nothing. And we have our Secretary of the Navy right over here. We're working on a lot more than icebreakers. We're working on some very, very big and important ships. But they had no idea what they were doing. And I was with you, and I ended up meeting you and knowing you, and I heard about Finland and their icebreakers, and I said, do me a favor, would you have your people take a look at what these people are doing? And it came out that, just as I thought, they had no idea what they were doing. And we got involved, and we ended up, we need these ships very badly, because we have a lot of territory, more than anybody. And so I'm very honored to have this deal, and thank you very much. It's going to be great. It's going to be a great partnership. And it's a great honor to have you, Mr. Prime Minister. Would you like to say something, please?
First, Mr. President, thank you very much. It's a great honor to be here today. And as a Prime Minister of Finland, I want to say that this deal is very important to Finland and our economy, because our economy is suffering a lot because of Russian aggression in Ukraine. And this deal, it means investments, it means jobs, and jobs means hope. And that's why this is so important. And I want to thank your leadership on this deal and this issue. Thank you.
So you've been affected very badly by the war going on, the ridiculous war going on, right?
Yes, because we have to close the border with Russia. We have 1,300 kilometers common border with them, and affects the atmosphere in Finland, in investments, and that's why we need good news. Our people need hope.
Right. So your border is closed?
It's closed.
And that's because you have so many Russians trying to get in?
Yes, they started to push illegal migrants to our border. That's why we were forced to close it.
And people also that don't want to go into the military, I guess, trying to come through.
Yeah, some of them are escaping. Fortunately, on our side, we don't have that problem. In Finland,
No, you have a great military.
we have compulsory military service, and as I always say, we have 900,000 men and women who've done it, including myself and the Prime Minister. We have 200.
And you've been fighting Russia for a long time. So how many years have you been indirectly fighting Russia?
Well, put it
From
this
that.
way, we have managed our relationship since the 1300s with about 30 skirmishes, but it's been very peaceful at our border after World War II.
1300s.
Yeah, but it's been peaceful at our border since the Winter War and the War of Continuation. But, I mean, a lot of it is because we actually have a very large military. It's the biggest in Europe together with Turkey, Ukraine and Poland. We have over 60 F-18s. We just bought 64 F-35s. We'll
Yeah.
roll out the first one in Texas in December. We have the biggest artillery in Europe together with Poland. And as I always say, we don't have it because we're worried about Stockholm.
Well, you really have proportionately, I think, the largest military in the world, proportionately.
It's quite big, yes, I have to admit. But, you know, we have it for defense purposes and also to build a deterrence. And it's worked. And I think that's one of the reasons that our relationship is so good as well. We have the Defense Cooperation Agreement with you.
Right.
We're new allies in NATO. Our defense expenditure is going north of 3%. We work very closely with you and the rest of our allies. And, you know, when you push the ceiling of defense expenditure in NATO to 5%, you can imagine that a country like Finland was quite pleased with that, because that means that all of the allies have to bring up their defense expenditure. And you basically increased our security just with that decision in The Hague. And I have to admit that having been to my first NATO summit in the summer of 2024, if someone would have told me that you will move from 2% to 5% after Trump enters, I would have said, go see your doctor. But, you know,
Well,
you
you
did
had to
it.
do it, and you were great about it. Spain has not been. Spain is the one that didn't do it. And so I think you people are going to have to start speaking to Spain. The only one that didn't do it, the only NATO country that didn't do it is Spain. And you'll figure what that's all about, right?
Yeah, I mean, we'll work, and I think with the leadership also, Mark Rutte, the Secretary General of NATO, I think, you know, there are a lot of commitments that have to take place, and this, of course, is going to also increase industrial defense exchanges. I think we buy 4 times more military material here from the U.S., and I think it's an essential part of our whole military setup in Europe. And it's good to be working on this together. But there's one thing that I wanted to mention also. I want to congratulate you for what we have seen in the past 24 hours in Gaza.
Thank you.
I think it's a historic deal. I went through the 20 points. It's almost like the best of record. You really see all the key elements. And if someone would have said a few weeks back that you and your team are able to push us to a position where there will be a ceasefire, an exchange of prisoners, hostages, and then a pullback, I would not have believed it. But this is what diplomacy is at its best, and I think it's a potentially huge deal. So congratulations to you and your team.
Peace in the Middle East. Yes,
Peace in the
excellent.
Middle East, yeah.
And every country came together. Every single country came together, and people are shocked by it. But it's an amazing situation. Nobody thought it was going to happen. Thank you very much. And you've been of help too. You help always. But we are really working more closely together, having to do with Russia, Ukraine.
Yeah.
And I would have thought that would have been easier, because that would be number 8 for me, number 8. And I would have thought the Russia deal maybe would have been one of the easier ones. And unfortunately, last week they had over 7,000 soldiers die unnecessarily. So it's a terrible thing, but I think we'll be getting there hopefully soon.
Yeah, probably we'll go, or you will be going piece by piece. I mean, there are only so many agreements that you can get done, and I think this one will be the next big one. Now, of course, this one needs to stick, and I'm sure it will, because the incentives are all there, and then we'll continue to work. I mean, the last time I was here in the Oval Office was with the other European leaders in August, and I think we did a lot of good advancement there on security arrangements. I think you pushed us Europeans hard not to buy oil and gas from Russia, which I think is a very correct decision. Europe just put down its 19th sanctions package. I think Russia is actually right now, both economically and militarily, not in a very strong place. And I think it's because of the commitments that we've made to Ukraine. So, day by day on this one.
Yeah, we're going to get it worked out. Questions, please?
Mr. President.